Hello, welcome to another recap video. This drama is about a girl named Charari. She's dating with a boy named Im Gaeon-hyung. They love each other a lot and are very happy together. Rari is concerned about the fact that Gaeon-hyung's mother dislikes her and thinks that she's an obstacle for her son. However, he assures Rari that he loves her a lot and he will convince his mother that he can't be with anyone else but her. Gaeon-hyung is studying and getting ready to take the civil service exam, which is a very hard exam and requires a lot of time for studying. And Gaeon-hyung's mother believes that dating with Rari prevents him from studying hard and becoming successful. It's been 2 weeks since Rari was able to contact her boyfriend. He doesn't answer her phone calls and texts. She gets worried and goes to his house to see what's happened, as she knows that he never loses contact with her. When she arrives there, Rari meets her boyfriend's brother and mother. Her mother slaps her and tells her that she killed her son. They tell her that Gaeon-hyung wanted to buy a gift for Rari for their anniversary, but didn't have enough money, so he took a part-time job for delivery and got into accident 2 weeks ago and passed away. His mother is blaming her for the loss of his son. Rari is devastated and can't believe that her boyfriend is gone, and she blames herself for this. She believes that he would have been alive if he didn't date her, and this makes her to become depressed after her boyfriend's death. On the other side of the story is a boy named Kang Hansel, who is a trainee for becoming a singer. Hansel has a YouTube channel where he sings beautifully there and has many fans, but his weakness is that he has stage anxiety. When he stands in front of others, he gets nervous and starts shaking and becomes unconscious. That's been the reason that he hasn't been able to debut yet. Whenever he tries to sing in public, he sees a girl and loses his control. Rari goes outside and buys rope to hang herself so she can join Gaeon-hyung, her boyfriend. She doesn't want to live without him as she loves him a lot. However, she regrets doing it and falls on the ground after her first attempt. The feeling of guilt is weighing on her shoulders, which prevents her from smiling and continuing her life. She's going under a lot of pressure. Rari has a best friend who comes to her house to comfort her and stays by her side. Her friend doesn't know what she can do to comfort her and make her feel a little better. One day, while Rari is outside and she's walking in the park alone, she suddenly sees Hansel, who is singing alone by playing guitar. She remembers how much her boyfriend liked watching Hansel's YouTube videos and enjoyed his singing. She gets emotional and starts crying out loud. Hansel notices her who's standing and watching him singing. He continues singing for her without any pause. Surprisingly, he doesn't lose consciousness and continues singing without feeling bad or losing his control. Later on, he realizes this fact and he thinks that he has been completely cured and he doesn't have stage anxiety anymore, which makes him very happy and excited as he loves singing. One day she finds a yellow notebook and realizes it's the notebook that her boyfriend wrote their bucket list in it, so they would do those things after his exam. She remembers how he was asking her about the things she wanted to do and wrote all of them in the notebook as a bucket list. Rari realizes that they didn't get the chance to do any of them. She makes a decision that she will start completing the list, which was her boyfriend's wish. She starts wearing makeup and gets ready to start the activities. However, it's still difficult for her to move on and convince herself to do all those activities without him being by her side. Rari starts drinking and gets drunk. Hansel is on his way home when he suddenly notices Rari, who's sitting on the bench alone, and he recognizes her from the other day in the park when he sang for her. He sits beside her to comfort her because she's very drunk. Rari also recognizes him and says that she feels warmth in her heart whenever he sings, and his voice is very nice, and it brings comfort to her. She asks him to sing for her again, as she doesn't feel okay now. Hansel gets moved by her words and starts singing for her, so she would feel better. For the second time, he successfully performs in front of her without any problem. Hansel starts singing in front of others as he believes that he's now capable of it. But while he's singing, he hears ringing in his ear again, which makes him lose his control and prevents him from singing. It's amazing how he can sing comfortably, only in front of Rari. One of the items of the bucket list is attending a musical play. Rari attends one and meets Hansel there. She's bought 2 tickets in remembrance of her boyfriend and gives one to Hansel. They both watch the play together, and Rari starts crying based on the theme of the play, which is about love. Hansel wants to comfort her in a way, but he doesn't know how. He has realized that something is bothering her that makes her cry all the time. After the play is over, he takes her to a restaurant to eat dinner together, which makes her remember how her boyfriend bought fried chicken for her. She decides to drink again and get drunk to not remember those scenes, as it just makes her sad and cry again. Hansel is the only person now that makes Rory get away from reality and smile a bit even in the midst of sadness. Hansel's friend forces him to perform in a cafe so he can get ready for his debut and overcome his stage anxiety. People get excited about his performance as they are his YouTube channel's fans. He's very nervous, but he looks up and sees that Rory is there too to watch his performance. Without him realizing, he is able to sing comfortably while looking at her. He doesn't look at other people there as he's afraid he'll lose his control again. While Rory is there, everything is fine, but when she leaves to answer a phone call, he becomes nervous again and can't sing anymore. Rory comes back and witnesses the situation. Hansel tells her about his stage anxiety and that he gets nervous whenever he sings in public. He then grabs her hand and tells her that he magically can sing well whenever she's there watching him and asks her to accompany him for his performance, because that's the only solution for him now. Rory accepts his offer and tells him that she will attend his public performances until he overcomes his fear, but he should also help her complete all the tasks in the bucket list. He agrees to her condition. They are also neighbors that haven't noticed each other since now. Hansel gets ready for meeting with Rory to complete the second item in the bucket list. He makes sure to look good, and when he meets her, he feels like his heart is beating faster and keeps staring at her. The next task is to go to a drive-in theater. They watch the movie together, and Rory sleeps on Hansel's shoulder. This feels like a real date for Hansel, as he's enjoying his time with Rory. She also feels comfortable and happy whenever she's with him. One by one, they complete the items in the bucket list. Hansel has become attached to Rory. Now he regularly practices for his debut and quickly runs to Rory when she calls him. They go to an amusement park together and play different games and take funny pictures. Rory is very happy with him and successfully does the tasks that her boyfriend wanted to complete them with her. It is visible that Hansel has feelings for Rory now, which she isn't aware of. He again sings in the street where she's watching her, and she feels relaxed whenever she listens to his calming voice. They start walking together, where Rory suddenly points to Hansel's heart and tells him that his voice is coming from here, which is very sincere, and touches her heart whenever he sings, and she believes that he'll be able to sing without her and become a well-known singer. He gets happy to hear those words from her. Hansel decides to visit his parents back at their home. His father is very cold towards him and scolds him for continuing to fail performing in public. He tells Hansel that he should give up on this career, which makes Hansel to get angry and tell his father that he will achieve his dream no matter what. Hansel decides to go back home where he meets Rory on his way. She realizes that he isn't well and tells him to explain everything to her as he can open his heart in front of her. Hansel decides to tell her why he has stage anxiety. He starts telling his story that he had a younger sister who had an illness. He was in high school and he was a trainee who wanted to debut. One day, his sister had a surgery and asked him to perform for her and wait for her to complete the surgery. However, Hansel tells her that he doesn't have time and he should go to perform according to his schedule, and nothing will happen to her. He leaves her and starts performing in the street. Suddenly, his friend comes and tells him that his sister passed away during the surgery due to a medical accident. He rushes to the hospital, but it was too late. From that day on, he's been blaming himself for not staying with his sister and always imagines her whenever he wants to sing in the public. Rory tells him that he should cry out loud to let go all of his sadness and guilt. He starts crying in front of her and tells her that this conversation really helped him to feel better now. Hansel and his friend, alongside Rory and her friend, decide to spend a day together, which is another item in the bucket list, to eat food in a restaurant with friends and spend time together. Rory is enjoying her time with her friends, as all of them are happy, but she suddenly sees her boyfriend's brother walking outside. Rory gets up quickly to go after him. She hears that he's talking to his mother and tells him that he wants to visit his brother. Rory decides to follow him to know where he's buried. As she's following him, the light turns red, and she wants to cross the street to not lose him. Hansel stops her so she wouldn't cross the street and tells her to not risk her life. He hugs her tightly as he's very worried about her. That boy goes inside a bakery across the street. After Rory calms down, she goes inside that bakery with Hansel to talk with him. When they go inside, she's shocked to see her boyfriend standing in front of her. He's been alive all this time and faked his death to deceive Rory. She doesn't know what else to say, and becomes speechless that the person that she loved and trusted the most did this to her and made her life miserable. Hansel stays by her side to calm her as she isn't well. She refused to exchange any words with her ex-boyfriend. Hansel keeps checking on her to make sure she's doing fine. Rory decides to share her life details with Hansel. She tells him that her boyfriend faked his death while he's been fine all this time. Hansel tells her to cry, as it's okay to be sad, as she should release all of her sadness. He said the same words to her as she told him before. Rory starts crying in front of him and feels better after it. Hansel notices the yellow notebook and grabs it to read. He reads the bucket list, then suddenly reads the last page of the bucket list, which Rory wrote before that she will take her own life after she's done with all of the items in the list. He gets angry by reading that. Rory wrote that before knowing that her boyfriend is alive. Hansel tells her that she's been using him to achieve her goals and wanted to leave him after all the items were done. He leaves her after that. Hansel truly loves her and thinks that she hasn't loved him even a bit over this time, which makes him very sad. Both of them get sad and depressed after their breakup. Rory's ex-boyfriend visits her to talk to her, but Rory tells him that she doesn't want to talk to him as he means nothing to her anymore, and that notebook with the bucket list is useless now as everything is over between them. She tells him that she loves someone else now. Rory can't forget Hansel and keeps remembering him whenever he sees someone singing in the street. However, Hansel and Rory refuse to talk to each other and clear all the misunderstandings. They keep missing each other and want to meet, but none of them step forward to solve the issues. Rory's ex-boyfriend visits her again to explain what happened in the past. He tells her that he really wanted to buy that gift for her and took a part-time job for it, but he got into an accident. His mother offered him to break up with Rory and fake his death, and she will buy a bakery for him. He tells her that he just accepted his mother's offer so he could be with her again in the future when he collects enough money. However, Rory doesn't get convinced and tells him that his death news devastated her and nothing can be an excuse for this big lie. She punches him and leaves the cafe. Rory decides to resign from her job to move to countryside for some time in order to find herself. She packs her stuff to leave, and Hansel hears the news. He runs to get to her and stop her, but he's late and she leaves. Hansel is crying out loud that he's late and she left him. Rory meets her college friend there, and he finds a job for her in the library. Rory wants to be away from the city life and all the recent events that happened to her. Hansel starts singing more in the public, but he has still some problem with his stage anxiety and loses his control. Hansel tells his friend that he wants to give up on singing. His friend gets angry at him and reminds him of his sister's dream. His sister's dream was to see her brother on the stage singing, and Hansel should make his sister's dream come true, so her soul can be happy. His friend's words make him realize that he should not give up on singing and should continue practicing hard for his debut. He starts singing a new song and says in his head that he misses Rory a lot. He's able to sing again as he's thinking about her. Rory's friend has always had a crush on her. Now that he knows that she broke up with her boyfriend, he proposes to her. Rory apologizes to him and tells him that her heart is with someone else, and she can only be friends with him. She packs her stuff and goes back to Seoul. Hansel has his first solo performance. Hansel's friend invites her to his performance, so she could see him singing. Rory accepts his offer and attends Hansel's performance, but he doesn't know that Rory will be there. He tells everyone that he has prepared a special song for a special person in his life, that she isn't there tonight. The name of the song is Her Bucket List. Rory gets emotional while listening to his song, and he successfully sings it in front of the public and finally notices that she's there in the audience. They meet again and reconcile. The drama ends with a scene showing that Rory and Hansel have started their romantic relationship, and he has bought a new pink notebook, and he wrote their new bucket list. The first item is to have their first kiss. This drama shows that Rory was able to move on from her unsuccessful relationship and find someone who truly loves and cherishes her. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned for upcoming recap videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe the channel. Bye everyone.